I'm Sharon Bill. Welcome to my Theory Tuition series where I'm working with you through each of the ABRSM Theory grades. There are lots of resources available to help you on my website. If you visit sharonbill.com, you'll find some free PDF information sheets and you can download those in US letter or A4 and they accompany each step of this series. You'll find a page there with links to all of my YouTube video tutorials, and you can also access information about the books that I have available. I've written an exam technique guide, how to take your ABRSM Music Theory Exam. It's full of hints and tips on how to best prepare for your exam and also how to make the best use of your time when you're working through your exam paper on exam day. So if you visit sharonbill.com, you'll find it's all there. If you can give me a like, that would be really super, and please do subscribe to my channel to keep updated. There's lots more in store. And now we're going to continue with the paper C from the 2014 Grade 2 past paper booklet. So if you turn with me to page 12, we're going to continue starting with question 6. So question 6 asks us to add the correct rest or rests. That's the important point there. In the places where there are little stars, there are two separate melodies, so two separate time signatures. Be careful you don't just presume it continues on into 2/4. It doesn't. There's two separate time signatures here. So I always suggest you have a go at this on your own. First of all, it's always better to learn by your mistakes. So I'm hoping you've had a crack at this, and now we'll look at this together. So there should be 2 quarter notes or 2 crochet beats per bar. So we have 1 beat here. Now the reason they've put rest or rest is because each new beat needs to be shown. So we need to show the start of each new beat. So the same rules that you would apply for beaming or grouping, we now apply for rests. So here's beat 1. And then we have 2 quarters of a beat, which leaves us half a beat left. If you get confused with the maths of that, I visualize it. So we've got 1 beat there, that's all used up as this crochet, this quarter note. Let's divide this into quarters. We've got 2 semiquavers, 2 16th notes, which are 1/4 of a beat each, and that leaves us half a beat left in this beat, in this whole beat here, and so we can just add a quaver or an 8th note rest. That bar's complete, that bar's complete. Now here, this is really almost no thinking required. We should have 3 in the time of the 2. We've got 3 in the time of 2 here, 3 quavers, 3 8th notes. There should be 3 quaver beats here. There's only 2, and so we are a quaver beat missing. 1 2 3. That's the same amount of time value as these here, but this is a rest rather than that being a note. So that one's soon sorted. Now here we're moving into 4 crochet beats, 4 quarter notes per bar. We've got a great big massive empty space here. We've only got half a beat in this bar. Now this is where we're going to have to use multiple rests to show each new beat. So I'm going to start from the back here. We've got a half a beat here. This is our quaver, our 8th note. So in order to complete that last beat of the bar, we need a quaver or an 8th note rest. So there's a half a beat rest. So there's 1 beat. So now I've got another full beat to fill. So there's a crochet beat rest. There's 2 beats. So we can see the beats 3 and 4 at the end of the bar. So we've got 2 more beats to fill. Now it wouldn't be quite accurate to give that 2 separate beats, although ordinarily each new beat needs a new rest. So long as you're not crossing over the halfway point in a bar of 4/4, and this is the same for beaming notes as well as rests, we can actually show that half a bar with a minim or a half note rest that just sits on the line there. So we've got 2 beats there, that's half of a beat. There's half of a bar, I should say. We've got 2 beats there, half of a bar. There's our beat 3, and then we've got the first half of beat 4, and then that final note finishes that. So we just need to position those very carefully to show each new beat, and we can use the half a bar rest there. So let's look here now. So here we should have 4 beats. We've got 1 beat here, we've got 1 beat here. This is 3 in the time of 2. So we don't really need to get confused by this. We're not worrying about performing it, we're just looking at the maths of it. 3 in the time of 2, which is 1 crochet beat. So we've got 1, 2, 3 crochet beats. This is the beat that we're trying to complete now. So let's look at this in smaller divisions. There's our crochet beat. We'll divide it into quarters. We've got a half of a beat here in that quaver, that 8th note. And then we've got a quarter of a beat here in that semi-quaver, that 16th note. We've got 1/4 of a beat left, and so that could be a semi-quaver rest is what we're going to have to do there. So what we've got actually in a mixture of rests and notes is that, but we've used a rest instead of a note there as required. So here again, really we've done the thinking for this bit here. We've got 2 beats here, we've got half a bar left. So long as we're not crossing over that middle point of the bar, we can use a minim or a half note rest just to show that remaining half a bar. So there we go, that's that done. So it's a similar sort of thinking now that's going to be required here. We've got to beam the notes correctly once we have rewritten this melody in notes and rests where everything is twice the value. And if you look at your time signatures, we can see we've gone from 2 crochet beats, 2 quarter notes per bar, to 2 minim beats per bar. So we're still in duple time, but everything has doubled in value. And so instead of being a dotted crochet, a dotted quarter note, we double that to a dotted minim. Instead of being a quaver, we get rid of the beam, the tail, and it becomes a crochet. So everything's got to double. And so we can just glance through and see what we're going to have to do here before we get bogged down with writing things out. So we get rid of this beam, these tails, and these each become crochets or quarter notes. Get rid of this beam, these become crochets, quarter notes. Get rid of that tail, that will become a crochet or a quarter note. Now here, losing one of those sort of tail part of the rest, the second line of the rest, makes that a quaver rest instead of a semi-quaver rest. And we do the same here, lose one of those tails and that becomes a quaver or an 8th note. Lose a beam here, which is just the same as losing one of these tails, and so instead of being semi-quavers, these will become quavers. Lose the tails or the beam here, these will become crotchets or quarter notes, and then for this last one here, we'll lose the stem entirely, and that will become a semi-breve or a whole note. So now we've an idea what we're going to be doing. I'm just going to get the note heads in place, and then I'll worry about stems and little tails and so on afterwards. I'm just keeping everything aligned so I don't get lost. I've got enough to be thinking about without wondering where I am. So we can already think that's just going to have that. We've lost that little extra line there. I'm not going to worry about anything else at the moment. You can do it in any order you like. I just prefer to get all the bits and bobs in place first. And then I don't need to colour in there. So these are just going to have stems now to make them crochet beats. We're doubling those from quavers to crotchets. Stems can stay in the same place. These will become crotchets instead of quavers, or quarter notes instead of 8th notes. Oh, got a bit wobbly there. This can jump down like they've done. So this one will just have 1 tail on instead of 2. It's become a quaver instead of a semi-quaver. It's become an 8th note instead of a 16th note. Now I can beam all of these together. There. I think I made that first stem a little bit too long. I can beam all of those together, but I only need 1 beam, not 2. I don't need a beam here because these have become crotchets. So actually I can now decide to put the stem the correct way because it's not joined. So that can come down, that can go up. And this doesn't need any stems at all because that's become a whole note or a semi-breve to double it from that minim, that half note. So there we go. That's that question completed. We'll look at the next question, the last question in fact to this paper in the next video. I do hope this is helpful to you. I hope it's helping you with your studies and your revision. I also hope that you're enjoying it. I certainly am enjoying working through it with you. If you can give me a like, that would be super. And please do subscribe to my channel to keep updated. Please also do visit sharonbill.com and make use of all of the resource and information that's available there to help you. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.